Conditions May Apply by CinnamonPinecones. Read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 180. It Takes a Village to Save a Child. By the time 3 a.m. rolled around, EY just wanted to go home. There was hardly anyone out anymore. All the other ladies had called it for the night. She didn't know why she bothered looking. Eraser said it himself. The guy probably wasn't anywhere near Uptown. If he just pulled off a high-profile crime, there's no way in hell he'd let himself get caught walking around his old haunts. She was about to call it when she saw the familiar swish of a dark blue trench coat exiting the convenience store, and her heart dropped to her stomach. He looked at her, and she froze in place like a deer in the headlights. How the hell did heroes do this crap? The guy raised an eyebrow at her odd behavior before giving a polite nod and walking down the street toward the train station. She ducked into an alley and forced in exactly 2 deep breaths before she stepped out again. The man was far enough down the road that she could tail him, right? Oh, commie. He just kidnapped a kid straight out of the lion's den and got away scot-free, and now she was following him. Okay. This is fine. Just calm down. This is fine. Her heels kept clicking on the sidewalk despite her best efforts, so she took them off. The guy hadn't looked back once, but she wasn't risking it. Commie, Ivy, the things I do for your dumb ass. She had guessed correctly. He was heading to the train station. Unfortunately, that meant there was nowhere for her to hide. The platform was deserted at this time of night, and the next train wasn't due for another 20 minutes. She took a seat as far away from Crispy as she could and tried to act nonchalant, tapping away on her phone. EY, 3:22 a.m. Crispy spotted in Uptown, taking the J line north. She wrote out a message to Eraser, but didn't hit send. The protective dick that he was would tell her to back off, but she wasn't going to risk losing him. If he was about to lead her back to Ivy, then she was going to follow this through. By the time 5 a.m. rolled around, she was beginning to regret that decision. They transferred trains twice, and she barely knew where she was at this point. The sun was starting to rise, and she was hardly able to stay on her feet, much less defend herself, as little good as that would do. She watched Crispy walk into Shizuoka Station and valiantly resisted the urge to crumple to the curb and fall asleep right there. That was a bullet train hub. He could be going anywhere for Kami knows how long. She couldn't keep up anymore, and she wasn't going to do anyone any good if she died with whatever pitiful lead she had managed to get a hold of. She'd figure out where he was going, and then she'd text Eraser. Morning commuters were already filling up the station, and she felt a little safer in a crowd, no matter how sparse it may be. She watched from a distance as Crispy went up to the ticket booth, bought a ticket, and walked away. The poor lady in the booth looked like she'd rather be dead than here, and EY couldn't blame her. She worked odd hours herself, and she'd also rather be dead than up at 5 a.m. doing customer service. She formulated a half-baked plan and walked up to the booth Crispy had just walked away from. He was sitting on a bench facing the rails. He'd have to turn around to see her. Hey, I need you to do me a favor. Girl to girl, I'm begging. You know that guy you just sold a ticket to? The mother trucker's cheating on me. I know he is. I just need proof. Can you tell me where he's headed? The middle-aged woman perked up and raised her eyebrows, leaning forward to glance over to where EY knew the guy was sitting. You can do so much better than that, sweetheart, the lady answered with a grimace. Smelled like he just rolled around in a campfire. Looks it too, she whispered conspiratorially. I know he's a piece of shit, but he's gonna get everything in the divorce if I don't have proof, she groaned. I don't remember seeing a ring on that finger, she pointed out. He's headed to Kanagawa. Kick his ass for me. She finally answered with a sly grin. Kami, she was in love with this woman. She's going to run away with her in this imaginary divorce. I frickin' knew it. You're an angel. Thank you, she said before gunning it to a partially hidden alcove. EY, 5:02 a.m. Trailed Crispy to Shizuoka Station. Save the lecture. He's getting on a bullet train to Kanagawa. I can't keep up with him. Feel like I'm gonna pass out because I haven't slept. Eraserhead, 5:04 a.m. Jeez, EY. Sending someone now. Go home. EY, 5:04 a.m. Train leaves in 10 minutes. Will they get here fast enough? Racerhead, 5:05 a.m. We have it under control. Did he see you? She looked up again to find the guy, and he was staring right at her. EY, 5:05 a.m. Frick! Yes! Just saw me. Leaving! She texted frantically as she walked away quickly. Eraserhead, 5:05 a.m. Find an officer or ask the employees to hide you in the back. I will send someone else to pick you up and take you home. Girl, he saw me. He's going to char my ass. Let me back there. She ran back over to the ticket booth with 100% genuine fear. The woman's eyes went wide, and she didn't waste a moment on words as she shot to her feet and dashed over to the door on the left, opening it and ushering EY in. Get under the desk over there, honey, the woman instructed before returning to her post as if nothing had happened. She did her best to catch her breath and slow her racing heart, but she still flinched when the lady spoke up. He looked over here, but he ain't doing anything, she informed. That calmed her down slightly, but not as much as she'd like. He and Hizashi had driven to Camino and gotten a hotel the moment the parents had started showing up at the hospital. Not everyone had been accounted for, but other heroes and friends' parents had offered to watch over them. Shinso-san was there now, and he had more faith in her to comfort the kids anyway. He had gotten some fitful rest in the car, but nothing substantial. Both he and Hizashi were running on fumes, but neither of them could sleep. They were both fully alert when Shota's phone lit up with a notification. EY, 5:02 a.m. Trailed Crispy to Shizuoka Station. Save the lecture. He is getting on a bullet train to Kanagawa. I can't keep up with him. Feel like I'm going to pass out because I haven't slept. He cursed under his breath and made a quick decision, dialing a number he hadn't touched in years. He hoped it hadn't changed. What's going on? Hizashi asked. He hesitated before answering. I told EY to keep an eye out for one of the perps. I recognized him from Uptown. She just tailed him to Shizuoka. He explained as the phone rang. Who are you calling? They asked. The call going through interrupted his response. Eraser, long time no chat. Why are you calling me at 5 a.m.? Hawks's groggy drawl blessed his ears. How fast can you get to Shizuoka Station? He asked, bypassing greetings entirely. He heard shuffling on the other side. Hopefully the kid was suiting up. Shit, I'm in Tokyo, man. 20 minutes if I book it, he answered. That's not fast enough. Zashi, call Netsu and get him tracking security cameras from Shizuoka to Fuji. Hawks, you need to intercept a northbound train on the high-speed rail. You're looking for a man with severe burn scars. You'll know him when you see him. Short black hair, blue eyes, and fair skin aside from the scars. Do not engage. Just follow him and tell us where he leads you. He has a powerful fire quirk, he cautioned, remembering Ivy's warning about Hawks' biggest weakness. Great. Good morning, by the way. Can you go after the eyeball scooper for me while I'm doing this for you? Hawks snarked. What's even going on? Not filling you in until I get express permission. Netsu will be in contact. I owe you. Shota replied and hung up the phone to text EY back. They went back and forth, and his heart damn near stopped beating when she said she was spotted. Eraserhead, 5:05 a.m. Send someone to escort a woman called EY home from Shizuoka Station ASAP. Sansa, 5:06 a.m. On it. He had grown closer with Tsukachi's second in command while they worked on the Aldera Junior High case together, and he had expected nothing short of the expediency he'd received. EY, 5:07 a.m. Apparently, he's not following me? I'm hiding under a desk in the ticket booth with some nice lady. Eraserhead, 5:07 a.m. You're sure he saw you? EY, 5:08 a.m. Positive. He saw me in Uptown too, but I thought I shook him off. What if he's leading us on? Shota thought about the man he'd seen in Uptown. He had a certain air about him, but he didn't seem overly hostile, not like he was in the woods last night. Only Ivy ever really talked to him, but they'd never said anything bad about him, and that was the type of profiling he trusted the kid implicitly with. It was possible he was leading her on, but he had to hope it was with good intentions. Either way, they had to operate as if this were a genuine lead. They knew where the Nomu was, but who's to say Izuku and Bakugo were in the same place? The more information they could get, the better, and Hawks was the perfect candidate for that kind of mission. Eraserhead, 5:08 a.m. Everything is a what if. A lead is a lead. An officer will take you home soon. Stay hidden. He felt minutely better, having made some progress, and he laid down on the bed over the covers as Hizashi talked to Netsu. He closed his eyes with no expectation of falling asleep, but he needed to try. He couldn't be running on empty when Izuku needed him. When Izuku woke up, Dabi was gone, and Kurogiri was doing his best to get the bar back in order. The sun was shining through the window, and Kacchan was staring at him with a grimace. He shot him a "what the hell are you looking at" look. Doesn't your neck hurt? He asked. My everything hurts, he answered honestly. What's wrong with you? Kacchan asked, charming as ever. He rolled his eyes. I got thrown into a mountain a couple times. No, dipshit. I mean, what is anything broken? He clarified. Collarbone, maybe jaw, but probably not. It hurt more. It got dislocated for a second. My nose? I don't know. Does it look broken? I can't tell. Your whole face is covered in blood. You look like you just got off set of a slasher movie. He frowned, and sure enough, he felt flakes of dry blood crack off his skin. He winced as he brought his hands up to scratch what he could off. It hurt like hell to move his arms around, so he gave up rather quickly. Have you slept? He asked. No, Kacchan answered. Get some sleep, he instructed. Kurogiri was acting as if they weren't even in the room. He was difficult to read because he was so inhuman looking, so for all Izuku knew, he was completely unaware of them, though he was sure that was just wistful thinking. He hasn't acknowledged me at all. Been here pretty much since you fell asleep. Kacchan answered his unspoken musings. How long's it been? Just under 6 hours if the clock runs right. He snorted out a laugh despite the seriousness of the situation. That funny to you? It's almost more than I've slept in the past 3 days combined. Jeez, what the hell is wrong with you? Don't think we have time to get into all that, he joked. Kacchan just looked at him. He looked sad. Get some sleep, Kacchan, he instructed again in a kinder tone. He studied Izuku for another moment before relenting, leaning his head back and closing his eyes. Izuku took the time to scan over his surroundings with rested eyes in the light of day. Dabi's blanket was gone, and he could tell that the windows faced toward the east, but other than that, he gathered no new information. He watched the rays of sunlight move across the room absently until he heard footsteps approaching from a door tucked away in his blind spot. He tensed up and considered waking Kacchan, but what would he even be able to do? The door opened and he prepared for the worst. Everyone's still asleep? The sound of Dabi's voice calmed him significantly. Yes, I believe so. I expected you to return sooner. Kurogiri replied. Shit happens. Got the cigs, Dabi answered, pulling a pack out of his pocket to illustrate his point. Has anyone else taken a shift? No, Kurogiri answered flatly. Do you sleep? Dabi asked hesitantly. Does he sleep? What? I rest occasionally, Kurogiri answered like it was a completely valid question to ask. Well, do you need to do that? Dabi asked warily. I need to replace the television, he replied. Right, Kay. Sorry for taking so long. You go do whatever it is you do, and I'll keep an eye on them. Thank you, Dabi, Kurogiri responded, putting down the cloth he was using to wipe the counter with and fading into himself. Why the frick does he answer you but not me? Kacchan spoke up, startling Izuku slightly. I don't know. The guy freaks me out. There's something wrong with him. He's like a robot, Dabi answered. Were those two having a civil conversation? Why were you gone so long? You left 8 hours ago. Don't think it takes that long to walk down to the convenience store. Kacchan pressed. Ah, does baby have abandonment issues? Dabi sneered. I'm going to rip your damn head off. Kacchan spat back. Okay, never mind. Dabi just rolled his eyes at him and turned to Izuku. He didn't fix the TV, right? Dabi asked. No, he's been trying to fix the bar that Deku destroyed. Kacchan answered for him. Yeah, he hasn't touched it. Izuku confirmed. All right, good. I met up with those hookers you're always hanging around with. Dabi pivoted the conversation. Kacchan balked at him. No, don't say it like that, jackass, he contested immediately. Okay, fine. I crossed paths with one of the ladies of the night who you have a close personal relationship with. Dabi corrected with a shit-eating grin. Izuku just sighed and gave up. Which one? I don't know, the hot one, Dabi replied. Izuku gave him a look that illustrated just how helpful that clarification was. You know, the one with the... He trailed off and crudely gestured to his chest as if he were cupping a large bust. Izuku just intensified the look he was giving. Was she black? No. Tan? Kinda. Blonde hair with black roots? I think so. Jeez, did you just look at her chest and nothing else? Shut up, twerp. She's the one with the nails. Eli, he asked hopefully. I don't freaking know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. She tailed me to Shizuoka, but then I think I spooked her off. I thought they lost me, but I don't know what kind of frickin' contacts she has, because guess who picks up my trail in Fuji? He asked, pulling a tiny red feather out of his pocket. Hawks? Hell yes! Hawks, buddy, if you're still in range, I love you! Izuku cheered quietly. You know Hawks? Kacchan interrupted. Oh! He trailed off, realizing that Hawks was probably looking for Izuku, not Ivy. No, that was probably weird to say, huh? He covered his tracks poorly. Everything you say is weird, Deku. Kacchan sneered. Whatever, this is perfect. We're out of here by tonight at the latest. He pulled the conversation back on track. And you, Dabi, have your get-out-of-jail-free card right there. Dabi looked at the feather in his hand, then back to Izuku, and he knew what was about to happen before the man's fingers so much as twitched. Dabi, don't! Izuku tried to stop the inevitable. I'm not working with the damn heroes any more than I already have. My generosity has bounds, he replied with an empty smile. Dabi's hand lit up in a flash of blue flames, and the feather's ashes fell to the ground. Izuku bit his tongue and managed to tamp down the exasperated scream building in his chest. Everything was perfect. They had success in the bag. Why the hell did he have to ruin it like that? You look like you're from a horror movie. Get that blood off your face. Dabi broke the tense silence as he rinsed the rag Kurogiri had been using before throwing it at Izuku's face. It hit his forehead with a wet splat, and then it fell to his lap. Kacchan was looking at him as if waiting for him to make the next move, but all he could do was take in a deep, unsteady breath and start scrubbing at his face. What they had was going to have to be enough. The heroes knew where they were now. Keeping Hawks' feather would have helped coordinate the mission, but, well, they'd just have to do without. It was going to work. They were going to make it out of this. Oh, good, you're all here. I finished my cross-stitch. I forgot to sleep, but it's done. Here you go, Dabi. The crazy girl, Toga, barged into the room holding Dabi's blanket. The patch that Izuku had sewn on was now covered up by a surprisingly well-done embroidery of a blue flame. The patch was so not cute, but now it is. You're welcome, she cooed. Dabi actually genuinely smiled at her as he took it. Kami, they were going to have to save a few people here, weren't they? End of chapter.